Now, I know this is going to surprise you, but the Trump family is once again in hot water for their involvement with World Liberty Financial. They're not the only ones in the administration under the microscope right now. We have a probe into Howard Lutnick and his connection to stablecoin issuer Tether. I don't love talking about politics, but we have to talk about a lot of politicians these days. We're going to unpack that and everything else right now. Let's go. I like that beat. Do you guys like that beat? I like it. Welcome to the Daily Wolf here on Yahoo Finance. I am Scott Melker, your host, also known as the Wolf of All Streets, and we're going to spend the next 14 minutes and 12 seconds unpacking everything happening in crypto news as we head into the weekend. Now, of course, you can't do a crypto show now without talking about the Clarity Act. So we've got a little Clarity Act update for you, a Clarity Act update. It's right over there. Now, you'll remember I've been telling you that we have a very short window now to get the Clarity Act done. Bernie Moreno saying it had to be done by Memorial Day or it was going to be tabled indefinitely. Industry insiders saying that we had 10 days. That was 3 or 4 days ago to get this done or it gets tabled indefinitely. But now Senate Financial Committee Chairman Tim Scott, who's made these predictions many times, is saying it could be done by the summer. I pulled together a few clips. This is just a very select few of our favorites of people telling us exactly when the Clarity Act is likely to be done.
I'm hoping that these two bills, the Clarity Act and the Genius Act, will make it through Congress and to the president's desk, and that he'll sign them,
Does the market structure bill pass in September, October? If I had to be a betting man, if it's going to pass, it's going to be October.
I'd love to see the Clarity Act pass the Senate before the end of the year.
But I'm really excited because the Clarity Act, it'll be law probably in the next 90 days, further defining the law towards this vision I'm giving you.
So there's a few details to get worked out, but it sounds like they really want to push for Senate committee votes maybe in early next year.
I think it's now 90% it will pass by the end of April. I had said a couple weeks ago, I thought end of April. At the time, people thought that was a little optimistic.
So you think the Clarity Act gets to the president's desk sometime this summer then?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do. Obviously. Now, listen, I'm not picking on anyone who was in that clip. Everybody in the crypto industry has given their take on when the Clarity Act would be done. I'm sure we could find some clips of me. We could certainly find 10 of Tim Scott himself saying what was likely coming. 90% by April was oddly specific and really aggressive. So that one maybe is worth a slight reverse dunk in the face. But otherwise, everybody was just making their best guess with the information that we had. But my take on this is the same it's always been. I don't believe you. You can keep telling us because it's what we want to hear when this is likely to come and that it's almost a done deal and that we've settled on stablecoins, but nobody's even talking about ethics yet. And it's about to be midterm season and we're about to have the senators going on vacation for the summer like a big class of kindergartners. This is not happening in my humble opinion. 46% chance on Polymarket. Maybe they know something that I do not. I would love to be pleasantly surprised and proven wrong, but right now I think this thing is mostly dead in the water. Speaking of things that are completely dead, it's our country. Check out this story. The national debt is now larger than the economy. Watchdog marks 100% of GDP milestone for $39 trillion burden. Here's the chart. You can see that here back in 1946, we had debt to GDP, and this is just debt held by the public, not total debt. Went up to 106%. And there's only one meme I bring up for this every single time. This is fine. It's fine. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But just to put some numbers on this, we now have the portion of the debt held by the public is at 31.27 trillion. GDP is 31.22 trillion. Now remember, we're supposed to be growing our way out of this. That's 100.2% debt to GDP. 1946 was the peak at 106, so we're 5.8 points away from the all-time high. Break that record. It's like the Olympics of irresponsible fiscal policy. This is $114,000 per American, $289,000 per household. Net interest payments are over $1 trillion annually, which is far more than the military budget, the largest budget item. This is absolute insanity. And what was happening in 1946? There was a casual world war. right? I mean, we were literally financing global war demobilization after financing the global war itself. Today, you just have two parties full of assholes who have an unlimited checkbook and refuse to be responsible. It's absolutely unconscionable. As Maya McGinnis said, a total bipartisan abdication of making hard choices. It turns out that it's not very politically popular to offer austerity as a political platform, but this is the biggest problem facing the country. No matter what misdirection you're told, no matter what issue you think is important, we are going to keep printing money until infinity, until the machine breaks. And Bitcoiners have been screaming this since the beginning of time. Maybe it is time to start to listen to them. Now, we're going to move on from that because I could rattle about the irresponsibility of the United States government all day. We have a few senators here that are accusing a part of the United States government of irresponsibility themselves. Now, take this with a grain of salt. This is Elizabeth Warren and Wyden. Two UNS senators seek Cantor loan documents from Lutnick and Tether. So we all know that Senator Warren hates crypto. She is the self-described general of the anti-crypto army, and she hates Howard Lutnick. This is like the fourth or fifth time she's come after him for the tariffs and a number of other things. But just to call balls and strikes and to cover the news, this is what the claim is. So first of all, what she said in the letter that went to Paolo Arduino, who I've had on the show many times, CEO of Tether, and to Howard Lutnick. We want to ensure that Tether has not sought to bribe or otherwise exert control or influence over you. That's a bold claim. So let's talk about what happened. In 2024, Cantor Fitzgerald basically negotiated a $600 million convertible bond purchase from Tether. That means they could convert that into 5% equity in Tether. So 5% of Tether for $600 million. Now, in 2025, obviously, Lutnick was required to divest of his interests so that there wouldn't be a conflict of interest when he became the Secretary of Commerce. So what he did, and what all wealthy people have done, you can exercise judgment on this in your own house on your own time, but he divested by selling Cantor Fitzgerald to 4 trusts that were to the benefit of his 4 children. This is part of the federal ethics rule. That is totally allowed. Now, what's interesting is that the day after this happened, Tether made a loan to Dynasty Trust A. We do not know the amount. We do not know the reason. But if you take a look at that, what basically Elizabeth Warren and Wyden are claiming here is that maybe Tether loaned the money to the Lutnick children to buy Cantor Fitzgerald from their father. And if you look at what allegedly is backing this loan, or the collateral for the loan that Tether gave, it's the assets in the trust, which include a $600 million convertible bond in ownership of Tether. Now, that is probably worth, that 5% that was $600 million in 2024, up to $25 billion right now. So clearly there's just a lot of strange things afoot here at the Circle K. That said, I mean, you know, Lutnick says their team basically said that they used, this was funded through multiple sources, multiple companies, multiple trusts at market rates. I tend to believe them. Like, getting really dirty with divesting your interests when you're becoming a government figure would be a bad idea. I think that they're just involved in a lot of things. But Cantor Fitzgerald has been custodying Tether's assets for many years. They've been deeply involved. And of course, Cantor Fitzgerald, or Lutnick specifically, was very involved in getting the Genius Act passed, which is legislation on stable coins. So just a lot here to unpack. I default to Elizabeth Warren is out of her mind. But I will at least say that we will continue to track this story and see what happens. That said, a favorable note for Tether, just as an aside, Tether posts $1.04 billion Q1 2026 profit. Reserve buffer hits record $8.23 billion. It turns out that these are really, really good businesses. Now, Tether did over $10 billion last year, and they have about 100 employees. Think about that. I mean, this is a company that's crushing the BlackRocks and Goldmans of the world, and they're doing it with a fraction of the staff with the most simple business model ever. They take in dollars to issue Tether. They hold those dollars in United States treasuries, and because of high interest rates, they earn billions of dollars for holding that money. Over 90% of their income, probably much higher, comes simply from holding these treasuries. So Tether and stablecoin issuers are absolutely crushing it. We've got another story here. I think this is big. Mara, this is Marathon, the Bitcoin miner. To buy Ohio gas plant operator Long Ridge for $1.5 billion as it pivots beyond Bitcoin. So the story here is AI. This is a complete and wholesale pivot of a Bitcoin miner that's publicly traded. Their CEO saying power is the scarce input in AI. This is massively increasing their capacity, and the hyperscaling AI companies are going to be knocking at their door for compute. So the real story here is that Marathon itself was effectively trying to follow in Saylor's footsteps. They offered a convertible note last year. They wanted to become a Bitcoin treasury company. Well, in the last few months, they sold the bulk of those Bitcoin, paid off that note to restructure the balance sheet and become an AI company. So Bitcoin miners can no longer survive on Bitcoin mining. Now it seems that the real angle is that they have to be AI compute providers or energy providers that also mine Bitcoin. So if you're going to invest in Bitcoin miners, probably a very good way to look at this. So yeah, Marathon making a huge move here. I think this is a major signal to the market as to what's coming for Bitcoin mining companies. Now, the next story is the one I alluded to, the Trumps. I'm going to give you some backstory here first. So this was back in October. DOJ seizes $15 billion in Bitcoin for massive pig butchering scam based in Cambodia. This is from the Prince Group. They've been sanctioned. They basically, if you don't know what pig butchering is, they had sweatshops of literally like slave labor that were socially engineering romantic love relationships and friendships with Americans and Canadians and people all over the world, eventually convincing them to wire money in for an investment and stealing that money. They could go to a Bitcoin ATM, send in cryptocurrency, wire money. It happened through exchanges. But they seized $15 billion taken from these people in Bitcoin. I can't believe that much money was sent in these scams. But these are very common and been happening all over the world. So first of all, that $15 billion was added to the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. It's ours now, not the victims. They don't get that back. That's ours. That's how this works, by the way. But what's crazy here is that we have a story now of the Prince Group that was sanctioned. This was called one of the worst criminal organizations in the world by Trump's administration. Now we have this story. Trump crypto venture linked to firm tied to sanctioned figures. So listen, this is a story of poor due diligence by World Liberty Financial, the 5th time that they've had a story like this with potentially sanctioned or controversial entities. Now, I don't think this is a huge deal, but effectively the Prince Group, these same people, have a blockchain called AB, and USD1, which is the Trump stablecoin, is the exclusive stablecoin on that platform. Now, it was 2 people who were later sanctioned for Prince Group, and they were maybe or maybe not there at the time. Either way, a very, very weak due diligence by the Trump organization, but I think that this is picking on them just a little bit in this case. But they definitely launched their stablecoin on a blockchain in a partnership with a group that was led by, at one point, very near to that time, by 2 sanctioned figures from this pig butchering scandal that the Trump organization, Trump administration actually massively prosecuted. And the last story right here, which is related, federal government plans to ban crypto ATMs to stop scammers from defrauding Canadians. I thought that was one of our states. But it's good that Canada has their own federal government, but it's bad that they're going to try to ban crypto ATMs. But to their point, over 50% of money that goes through these crypto ATMs apparently is involved in these pig butchering scams. They send the person there, they convert their cash into cryptocurrency and send it off, never to be seen again. So it is problematic. But to me, this is like saying drug dealers use iPhones, let's ban iPhones. It's an agnostic technology that can also be used for good. But just to show you how big these pig butchering scams are, you have a federal government literally talking about banning one of the places that people go to send the money in. So really, really a big story here. Kind of superficially involves the Trumps, but that's the articles that are going around. So we have, once again, have them in hot water. We have Howard Lutnick maybe in hot water, but I think that he's going to obviously be able to weather this one. The bigger story to me, and it's not the crypto story, is the GDP and debt story. It's absolutely astounding. It makes you just shake your head and think, maybe I should just buy some Bitcoin and opt out of this. See you on Monday. Peace.